Hello there, it's Zach at Feel Free to Argue. Thought I'd take advantage of the great outdoors, both because I can and because my kids are home from school and it's hard to record the videos inside because they're so damn loud. So anyway, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to respond to these questions from Azrael's Judgment. We'll just get into them. 1. Do you believe peak oil has been reached, has been surpassed, will be reached soon, is far away, or is a silly theory? Well, I don't think it's a silly theory because at some point the oil will run out, but I honestly think that peak oil as an immediate problem is manufactured by the oil companies. And once again, my information comes very much from Greg Palast's book, Armed Madhouse. And he talks about this as being something that's manufactured by the oil companies. Now, does this mean that we shouldn't be pursuing energy independence? Of course not. We should definitely be interested in energy independence and trying to get ourselves off of oil, both because it's polluting and because it's going to run out eventually. And it comes from a place where there are a lot of people who don't have our best interests at heart. Second, do you believe humans are the major cause of global temperature changes, global poisoning, both or neither? Well, I haven't heard much about global poisoning unless you're talking about pollution in general, in which case, yes, we're responsible. We're responsible for both of them, if that's the case, because I definitely believe that we're responsible for global warming. If you look at the trends, you could see that this is not representative of any of the normal cycles of weather that we have in the past. The evidence for global warming is very overwhelming. 3. Do you trust genetically modified foods? Well, do I have any choice? Since the government doesn't even have any kind of requirement forcing people to tell me when my food has been genetically modified, I guess I am trusting it, whether I want to or not. Do I? No, I don't, because we haven't done 1/10 of the kind of serious testing to find out whether these things are safe or not. 4. Do you believe elections are rigged or fine, or think elections are nonsense either way? Well, I think elections are important, but I think they are being rigged right now, and current changes in election law are largely responsible for that. Greg Palast, once again in Armed Madhouse, talked about 3 million votes being thrown away in the last election. Those are the votes we know about, the votes that we know were cast and for one reason or the other were thrown away. And if you look at what kind of votes they were, it was just really obvious that they were all Democratic votes. Or let's not say all. Let's say 99% of them. And so yes, I think there are seriously rigged elections right now. But once again, I think it's something that we can get under control. But it'll take acknowledgement of the fact that there is a problem. 5. Do you believe the government owns you and your children? Well, I certainly believe that the government is making all kinds of promises on my behalf and on my children's behalf, in terms of the debt that we're racking up, and also in terms of the way that our government is treating other governments around the world. I mean, that is a form of legacy which is getting passed on to me, my children, my children's children. I mean, I think we're going to be paying for Bush and his mistakes for a long, long time to come yet. Do I think they own us? I think they own us, but I think once again it becomes a matter of whether or not we as a country decide that we don't like what the government's doing on our behalf and we try to change it. 6. Do you believe you could be charged with a crime without physically harming, theft included, a person or property, hence no victim? Well, I don't even know why this is a question, because I think it's an obvious fact that this can happen. 7. Do you think the USA empire is headed for collapse? Yes, I do believe it's an empire, and yes, I do believe it's headed for collapse. And on this subject, I'm informed by reading a guy named Chalmers Johnson, who is a former CIA analyst, also very famous Asian affairs expert, and has written a trilogy of books recently talking about largely this subject: how we garrison the globe, how it causes us to be perceived, what the blowback for it's going to be. In fact, the 3 books are Blowback. The best one for this specific topic is the middle one, which is called Sorrows of Empire, and the third and most recent book of his is called Nemesis. All 3 are excellent. I recommend all 3. 8. Do you think people can live free without a central government? Well, I would say I don't think so, and that's just because that human beings have a tendency to get together in large groups, whether it be, these huge vertically integrated corporations which increasingly run our lives, or the large governments, or the government aggregates, like the European Union, huge countries like China and like us, for example. Because of these things, I think that regular people, you can't beat these big institutions, so you have to have some kind of big institution which serves you. And I think most of the problem that we have in this country with the government is because we're not paying attention to it and making sure that it is actually acting in our interest. We're allowing it to be co-opted by other people, by other institutions, mostly corporations. Do you believe using the violence and force of government is a valid answer to solve problems? Well, in very limited circumstances, like to protect my stuff after some sort of natural disaster, if there was, a threat of looting. But even here, I think that the most important thing is that we have an accountability structure for whoever is protecting me. Because I'm just as afraid of the person who's protecting me as, the people that they're protecting me from. The difference between the people who are protecting me and the people who are coming for my stuff should be a system of accountability, which means that the people who are protecting me are answerable to an authority that I have some control input over. And I think that's the whole key. I mean, I would even be okay, I guess, with Blackwater, taking care of, my situation after some kind of natural disaster. But I want to have serious structures in place that allow me to get on the back of anybody from Blackwater that acts outside of their authority. There needs to be accountability. And finally, 10. Would you force your views onto other people because you thought your way is the only way to live, or do you believe there is no one right way to live as long as you're not harming, coercing others? Well, definitely I believe the latter half of this. I think, there's no one right way to live, and, certainly I have my opinions, and I'm going to argue with people, but everybody's got a right to screw up their life however they want. It's their life. So those are basically my answers to the question. I'm interested in seeing what everybody else answers to these questions, and I want to thank Azrael's Judgment for coming up with these good questions for us to all discuss. Thanks a lot.